Cage. Peach. I could eat a peach for hours. Please.
Greetings and salutations. This is Cage's Kiss, the ultimate Cage cast, where we discuss each of the National Treasure's cinematic masterpieces in his life. We also try to glean whatever kernels of wisdom we can from his character that week. And before we get into everyone, I would just like to tell our listeners a little story. This is a story about an ambitious young American and her dream of a podcast centered on a national treasure and acting wonder child, Nicolas Cage. Linda was ambitious, humble, and well-intentioned. Then her friend Adrian fueled this desire with unfiltered petroleum fuel. Adrian was knowledgeable and youthful. And me, well, I'm just here for the paycheck and the hopes that I, like Nicolas Cage, can win the lottery, promise a waitress to split the winnings, and instead spend it all on hookers and sweet lady cocaine. I am Donnie.
It's so inspiring, it's like I'm there.
I know.
I heard you have a special guest.
Yeah.
Oh, we have international Lucile.
Yeah. I'm Lucille. You can call me Lucille, like
yes,
every American.
Say something to prove that you're international.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Lucille. Vous pouvez m'appeler Lucille, parce que c'est ce que...
I don't speak that, voilà. But yeah, that's okay, I guess.
See, she's real.
I know some of them French words. À bout de fou, à Faville, Purée le fou, Fantomas.
I know how to say où est le poisson.
Horse divorce.
If I break into song from Funny Face, you're just gonna have to forgive me. So,
can you say the word happiness?
No.
But none of us is happy though, because we have an Andrew Bergman movie this week.
Yeah, is this the last in the?
Do you care to introduce yourself, stranger?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I'm Donnie's girlfriend. I know nothing about movies. I know nothing about Nicolas Cage, and I just watched this one.
That's to your credit, really.
Yeah.
In this case.
Thank you.
Yes. As the best intro we've had, I think. Adrian.
For listeners at home, I would be Adrian. I would be the charming co-host, and that just spoke is Linda.
The infamous.
Yes. You some kind of squeezy cheese?
Not today. I'm just a lucky cheese, I guess. But one of those expensive ones, like a brie.
I better get some kind of cheese out of this.
A camembert.
Maybe one with truffles.
Well, we all have one thing in common, is that we all watched this movie.
And we all got diabetes from it.
Yeah, I tell you, I think I might literally have gotten diarrhea from this.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny you say that, because I put that in my notes. I think this movie is going to give me diarrhea.
So unfortunately, this isn't the first time I saw this one. This is the second time.
Yeah.
And I had to go through it a few times.
Yeah. We all suffer for our art.
Oh God. Oh, why did this happen?
Well, is this the end of the Sunshine trilogy, or is this just a new Layer of Hell?
Yes. This is Sunshine trilogy ending for a while, at least. Although Cage did do other saptacular movies along the way, like The Family Man.
Yeah.
He didn't do any more with Andrew Bergman, though, did he?
No, thank God. Well, Andrew Bergman didn't direct anything after Striptease.
Thank God.
Yeah, he was over.
So he died.
Yeah, no, so Andrew Bergman, I guess we can't fault him as much for this one, because he did not write this one, but he still stamped his name on this pile of garbage.
Yeah.
Does somebody want to illuminate this stirring plot for our viewers at home, who hopefully will never actually watch it themselves?
Not it.
Damn it, you did the intro, you gotta explain it.
Fine. So Nick Cage is a well-meaning, well-to-do cop who doesn't shoot people, apparently. And he's not racist in the slightest. He cares very deeply about the gay community. He's a angel types person, like he is in normal life. Any hoozle, he's just too damn poor because he's got a money-grubbing wife at home who cares nothing about him but money. And he goes out for some coffee with his partner who's cracking wise, and they can't leave a tip, and he has to tip properly. So he gives this waitress, who is filing for bankruptcy because of a failed marriage with the husband she can't afford a divorce from, who also swindled her out of all her money in her saving account. She's having a bad day. So Nick Cage decides, well, golly gee willikers, I went and bought a lottery ticket for my wife because her dead father told me what letter or numbers I should pick. So, hey, I'll split it with her if I win, or give her a tip.
Why split it with her? He should not have given her more than 10%.
At 10%? Why would you even go 8%?
Hey, it's plenty.
She was being a bitch.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. But yeah.
It's funny that, Donnie, it's funny that you would say golly gee willikers, because would you believe that he was playing it as Jimmy Stewart?
God damn.
I think this movie only happened because Hollywood finally figured out that Cage looks like Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, and if you give him enough cocaine, he'll jitter just like him, too.
You know something, Bridget Fonda, every time a bell rings, I split a lottery ticket with you, and it's a very interesting situation.
So
Give me that lotto ticket, you stupid old man.
As it turns out, Nick Cage bungles up the numbers because, oh geez, he can't remember what day he got married. He went by a different day than what his wife had. They end up winning the lottery, but so does a bowling team, which really would have been more interesting to have followed versus this douchebag.
And there's some third lady who's never mentioned again. We just kind of show her once.
And I mean, this was like, what? It was a $60 million jackpot, right?
And it somehow gets down to 4 for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I guess like 16 people won. I think I did the math.
But they said the bowling team only counted as one person.
Exactly. And that's what got me weird on that. But, any hoozle, they win $4 million. Cage's like, oh God, I promised this lady I'm going to pay her $2 million out of this. What am I going to do? Yeah, short end of the story. She gets more than just the tip from Nick Cage. They split the money. Both of them have horrible partners. They end up losing. It's a horrible diabetic sugary syrup they just force feed down you, and all the music in the world from the 90s lets you know when to care about it, when not to, and when to be happy again. And Isaac Hayes is just fucking amazing.
Isaac Hayes is a character named Angel, despite the fact that he is not Hispanic.
Yeah, or an angel. He just kind of
or even
around.
An angel.
Yeah,
he's a heroic reporter, even though the tabloids are part of the villainry in the movie.
I mean, the only reason I can expect that he's there is because he is the #1 Duke of New York. So of course that's why he's hanging around Queens.
What did I teach you?
You're Duke of New York. You're #1.
You're #1. You're the Duke. You're the Duke.
But it also has the amazing Rosie Perez.
Really
one of my top 5 Puerto Ricans.
I was going to get into her. Yeah, in real life, she's pretty much the exact opposite of her character in reality. Actually,
yeah, she just kind of came off as a stereotype, but
they have a very broad Rosie Perez performance in here because she's talking about her dead father and how she had a dream about him, and he says, "Oh, Vati, you got to pick these lotto numbers." But she's an AIDS advocate in real life. She actually worked with Barack Obama.
Yeah.
And she was briefly on The View. And she's actually, believe it or not, you wouldn't know it from her performance, but she is a real New Yorker.
Honestly.
And she was actually a choreographer for the Fly Girls back in Living Color.
I did not know that.
And
she was in Do the Right Thing. That was her first film. She was in White Man Can't Jump.
The only thing I really loved about her in this was her portrait she had done on the mantle.
I want that.
And she was in Pineapple Express, and she was in Dance with the Devil, which is the sequel to Wild at Heart.
Oh, wow. Oh, Jesus.
Oh.
And in
that's
real
right.
life,
she played the Isabella Rossellini character.
She was abused by nuns.
Well, spank me with a wire brush.
Also, the boobs that she has at the end of the movie are her real boobs.
Yeah.
She actually had them strapped down for the other scenes.
Wow.
She's like,
'Cause
Nicolas
she's
Cage, do you think I
blessed.
should have them done? No, what for? Why'd I do that?
She had them done. What'd she have done? Nothing. What?
I'm
What
Red
is
Buttons and should be dead by now. It should no longer be in films. Had what done? I don't know where I am right now.
Oh yeah, there's also red buttons.
Yeah, these are real leather chairs.
And don't forget, hey, Stanley Tucci's in this one. Hi, baby.
Oh my god. I love how he played his character fantabulous, and he was like just a touch of gay, of 90s gay.
I'm going to take your pistachios. Hey.
And it's not just a
Well, he
they
was
don't
in the
just
theater.
have
When you're in the theater, it doesn't matter
tooch in
whether you're
there.
straight. You're going to be that way.
But they don't have just the tooch in there, it's shirtless tooch.
That's true. We do get him shirtless and ripped and hairy.
Yeah, oddly
That's
enough.
pretty
Was
much.
not
that's
expecting him to be
explaining
ripped.
it.
Yeah, no, that's his. He's wearing a towel for a large part of that. You know, it's like, hey, babe,
Yeah,
we'll
he's
move back
just
into our
freeballing it
apartment.
the entire time.
Hey, why not?
And of
The
course, it
ship's
has
sinking. You might
Bridget
as well look at
Fonda,
that. Yeah. Oh, the Bridget.
Mrs. Danny Elfman.
Oh.
I did not know that. I didn't actually realize that she was the daughter of Peter Fonda. Like I knew that she was a Fonda. I just didn't know from which end. You know,
Kinda
like,
like the
but
bald
you know,
James.
kind of disappointing when you think like Peter Fonda, Jane Fonda, Henry Fonda, and now this.
And then there's her.
Oh.
It's like I don't
And then
really
there's
want to sell her too
Bridget.
short, you know. In general, I mean, you know, she was in Shag the movie. She appeared briefly in Army of Darkness, but like the way she is in this movie, you kind of just want to keep watching her scene in Jackie Brown, where Robert De Niro shoots her over and over.
We're gonna be watching that this
Louis.
I don't know. She reminded me of her Aunt Jane, though, a lot, like in this movie. But I mean,
but
she just sounds a lot like her.
nobody's-
It's a bit off
Jane,
topic,
though,
but I
man,
really
like-
wish that we could talk about Martin Short the same way we do about the Baldwins. Just call them the Shorts.
We can do that.
You know, this movie could have used the shorts. I think at some point. You know.
Well, we'll get to that on Face Off, I guess.
Well, okay. Before we even get there, I'm saying right away, this should have been a Tom Hanks movie.
It kind of
Yes.
felt like it.
Nicolas
Yes.
Cage was horribly misused in this. Like, this is not a Nicolas Cage movie.
Mhm.
Like, you know, we know that Cage, you know, is somewhat versatile, but like, this is not one of the things that he's supposed to be doing.
No, and I was gonna say,
Well,
just
Tom
given
Hanks
his...
is.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say Tom Hanks is like our equivalent, or like generation's equivalent to Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, he is kind of like that. You want Schmaltzy? I can do Schmaltzy. Yeah, put me in the film. I'll do it.
Yeah,
But
no,
Nick
it
Cage, this
just
felt like he
put
was-
Meg Ryan in there, you know, and
Yeah.
you got your movie. You know,
It just
like it
feels like
writes
they
itself.
loaded him up with Quaaludes, and then someone had one of those dog shock collars on him just to keep him from going full Cage.
Yeah, because he never does it. He never
Yeah.
does it. Like,
I won't have any fun.
like at least in Honeymoon in Vegas, you get like, you're not even fine today.
Yeah, can we get a bedroom?
You're trying to give me a heart attack.
He said that Andrew Bergman kept asking for more Jimmy, more Jimmy.
Oh, so they were fully aware of it. Okay.
If you know what I mean. More.
See, if we've been look-
But
wouldn't be the
when
right
talking
thing.
about Cage, Bergman said, quote, "He makes ordinary guys interesting. There's nothing white bread about anything he does. There's something so unadorned about the way he says a promise is a promise in that movie. It just gives you goosebumps."
Someone always says a promise is a promise while snorting
Andrew
blow off a hooker's ass.
Bergman. So, I know
Honestly,
we
I feel
talked
like
all
any
about.
actor could do it, but
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Is like he took this guy that he acknowledges as unique and just dumbs him down to be any actor.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Lucille, on when we covered the other Nicolas Cage Andrew Bergman movie, Honeymoon in Vegas, I went on a little bit about how Andrew Bergman actually has some credentials and should have been better than this because he was a writer on Blazing Saddles.
Oh, God.
He wrote and directed The In-Laws with Peter Falk and Alan Arkin.
Oh, okay.
That was
Which is a much better movie. And he wrote and directed So Fine with Ryan O'Neal, which I think is adorable. And you know, and then we wind up with this.
I know. Oh, it's so sad. But that was something of a fun contrast.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Say what you're going to say first, Joel.
Well, no, I was gonna say one of the things that made me very sad is that this movie earned $37 million against the budget of $20 million.
Jesus Christ!
For some reason,
37.8.
it has a 71% score from critics on Rotten Tomatoes.
I can understand that though.
Although from audiences, it's only I think 51.
Yeah, I mean,
The budget was $20 million.
Yeah. And back to Mr. Ebert. Well, I'll never tire of dragging through the mud. Roger Ebert claimed that Bergman, quote, never goes for the heavy-handed schmaltz. So I'm thinking like, so this is one of those movies that Roger Ebert reviewed but didn't watch.
Yeah, he only stayed for the first 15 minutes. Like, I'm out.
Hey, good enough. I have places to be. I need to get some crisp lettuce.
Well, what I was going to I love but regret sharing that beautiful story with you.
Beautiful.
Yes, the wonderful contrast that this film brought was, Lucille, what did you say you thought about this movie?
Oh, well, actually, I kind of liked it because I've seen, like, a couple Nicolas Cage movies so far, watching with Donnie, and, well, it was a normal movie. It felt like a regular movie.
Yeah.
Like an honest movie, and...
Like he was reined in.
I feel like the
honestly...
normal movie was guarding Tess. I don't know.
It kind of was, yeah, but this one, he just wasn't so Cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In taste. I like cute stuff, so that was pretty cute, but maybe a little too cute.
A little too cute.
It's just like, it felt like a pretty good movie, but with a good sprinkle of cringe on top of it. So
yes. And the sprinkling of racism, because that's really wonderful.
Oh yeah.
Well, let me tell you about the first time I watched this one.
Please do.
Because the first time I watched this one, I hadn't seen quite so many movies as I had now. I think I was like 17 or 18. I rented it with my brother. I think we just recently seen Face Off, and we were all like, "Yeah, Cage!" So we were just renting like any old Cage movie. And I was fairly well with it because I'm like, it's a romantic comedy. It's doing that romantic comedy stuff, like, and most aspects of it didn't bother me too badly until I got to the ending.
Yeah.
And when we got to the ending, me and my brother actually had a big argument about it because I'm like, wait a minute. There's something wrong here. I'm like, not only do they wind up, they find love, they get money back.
Yeah.
And the entire world is in love with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't have all three. You really can't. Like, frankly, love should be enough,
Yeah.
But like,
well, and apparently nothing was going on. Nothing newsworthy was going on in New York at the time. Like, they keep making the headlines.
Stories, it's like, he's a hero cop now. Like, lottery winner. Like, da-da-da.
Well, on top of that, I would like to mention also that the movie where it ends with them finally getting married, they go off in a hot air balloon and they're dropping all these flyers on the ground. He's a fucking cop, and he's littering in Central Park. His ass is fired.
Something that's going to be a hefty fine. Yeah.
He knows what the fine is.
He's going to get pulled over by a police hot air balloon. They're going to say, sir, I know you're on the force, but, we don't appreciate that. That's actually $5,000 for each of those you drop, so we're going to need that $60,000 back.
He likely would be that cop that gave himself a ticket because he drove for like an hour or something with an expired license. He would be that cop.
It's not the right thing.
I'm curious the argument you and your brother had about the ending, because Lucille also had a huge discrepancy with that.
Yeah, well, I think it's the same reason, honestly. It's just like,
you had a problem
movie
with that too.
is about about luck, and the fact that the message is kind of like, it's not the money, that they're not lucky to have money, but they're lucky to find each other and stuff. And I'm like, but they get money at the end anyway. It muddles the message. It makes it kind of pointless.
Well, yeah, no,
the whole thing also with his
yeah.
ex-wife and how she gets it the worst of everyone.
We get the everybody getting their comeuppance. It's not like, that's not really what a moral victory is. Like, this is just petty revenge now.
Yeah.
Well, and I had a huge issue with that because, like, they kind of made it like his wife or ex-wife at that time was this horrible, like, selfish bitch.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, obviously they have issues with the relationship as it is, but, like, her getting upset with him for giving away the money without discussing it with her first, even though it's her money too, I think that's fucking valid.
Well,
it
the
is.
thing is that in their efforts to vilify her character, they actually do make her one of the most practical people in the movie.
They really do, yeah.
Because there's the part where they're discussing, it's like, well, cops have kids. We have to have some kids. And she's like, we can't afford kids. And it's like, well, yeah, like, the kids have to eat, don't they? You got to put clothes on them.
Well, even then, it's like, so... Go ahead.
Oh, no, that was about it,
I was just gonna say, also, it's like the only one that came off actually legitimately getting their comeuppance was the woman's ex-husband. It's like, he was a legitimate douchebag. But Cage's,
and the only appealing person in the movie.
Yeah, it's like you just have to throw that in there because of how much of a bitch you tried making her out to be, going, oh yeah, and the woman who took the $4 million, what was left in between them, yeah, that old douchebag took all her money, and now she's living with her mom.
She screwed up, married Seymour Cassell, and now she's in a nail salon, and it's not even in Queens anymore, she's in the Bronx. You think, like, she's gonna get murdered by gang members.
The thing is, if money is not, like, the key to happiness and stuff... Oh, yeah, I said it.
You said it. You said it.
Anyway! Well, yeah, those two people, they're poor, but maybe they're happy, we don't know.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, the movie, I think the movie just has the thing where he's like, well, stop talking about the money. That's just to make his character squeakier. Because the movie just, like, brings the message right back around at the end. But, like, it's really important to win the lottery and be famous and have everyone love you.
Yeah, and that's something else also I didn't realize was that when you win the lottery, apparently you get invited to millionaire boat parties so that you can spend more of your money you just won.
And I guess Seymour Cassell's, like, a former winner too, who's, like, now like really, really skeezy. I mean, that's the kind of role that Seymour Cassell is good at, so.
Honestly, I gotta say, going back to his ex-wife again, while they were still married, she actually had a good idea of getting 6 apartments and renting those out to people and making money off of that.
Again, actually practical, yeah.
Yes. Like, doing something to help make more money and set themselves up, while he's just like, oh, a robe for $100, I'll buy it. Oh, here, tell the cab driver to keep the change. And I'm just
about,
like, dude.
About the robe, they both go to the Plaza Hotel, and they act like they've never been in any kind of a hotel before. It's like, there's a robe in there, it's like, they have a robe at a Motel 6.
I know.
Like, a lot of what they're like, hey, your room looks like my room. It's like, yeah, just like at a Super 8. You're like at a Best Western.
Well, and at one point, he and Bridget Fonda's character take a bunch of the kids from the block to was it Wrigley Field or some shit?
I think so.
They they I guess rent.
I'll admit,
the
I don't know New
stadium.
York that well.
Me neither. But they let them, like, play in the stadium for a while, and that wasn't cheap. And so, of course, like, his wife gets pissed off. And I'm thinking, like, well, yeah, like, I mean, if that were me and Carlo, who, by the way, is my top favorite Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't just leave it at top.
It was my top.
He's the Coliseum.
He's my power top.
But if we won a couple $1 million and he wanted to do that, I would be pissed too, because, like, I mean, yeah, I'd be down for taking the kids to the ballpark. I mean, that's fine. But like, where they belong.
I would take the neighborhood children to see where sausage is made.
But I mean, to take them without discussing it with the wife first. And
if she's a bad wife, he's a pretty bad husband.
But also to go with another woman?
Yeah.
No.
No, and on top of that, they really, really go out of their way to just crucify her as a bitch, because there's even...
Yep.
This is kind of getting a little into film schoolish bullshit, but her eating the popcorn, which he had over his chest, and she's just eating at his heart, literally, while they're in bed discussing this. What do you mean we don't have $4 million? We only have $2 million. What is this?
What the hell is that accent?
It's my least offensive, okay?
and the treatment, the fact that they give Cage a Puerto Rican wife and just like slowly mistreat her in every sense. It's like that's more fuel. I wasn't gonna get into the racism thing, but like this movie has a lot of it.
There is a lot of
Yeah.
it.
While thoroughly pretending not to. I mean, it's a very '90s thing, you know. Like it's like a lot of old timey stuff, like Uncle Remus, you know, where it's like it's well-meaning, but today it's pretty much reprehensible.
Yes, like back in the 90s.
At this point, can we please talk about the couple in the diner?
Oh, you mean
I was gonna bring that up. It's like, look how nice Bridget Fonda's character is. Look, she has a gay guy with AIDS eating there, and she didn't spit in his face and kick him into the street.
Right.
It's amazing.
So,
wait, you mean he's got it?
for those of you,
he's got it. Yeah, yeah, baby,
for those of
he's
you who
got
haven't
it.
seen the movie and who don't plan on seeing the movie, good for you, first of all. And what happens in the movie is there's a couple of guys at one of the tables in the diner, and one of them, I guess he kind of looks tired. I didn't think that he was
he's got the dark
single.
circles. He's got the dark circles. So either he's got AIDS or he stayed up for 3 days.
So
It's like, my mother never cooked like this. Cocktails she made. I'm going to reference Imelda Marcos.
Bloody Marys.
He's in the arts.
But okay, so Bridget Fonda is bringing him his bowl of oatmeal, and she says, just like Mom used to make. And he says basically that his mother was a bitch and she didn't cook for him.
Well, how do you think you get to be gay? You have an overbearing mother who doesn't cook dinner. It's the 90s, folks.
Anyway, so she, just like Adrian was saying, she treats him like an okay person. She doesn't spit in his face.
She treats him better than she does the other diners.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. She like, I'm a pretty good waitress. It's like, no, you're not. You're awful.
No.
You're motherfucking Teresa.
I was thinking like,
it's like, oh, hey, look, some cops
like...
are eating here, and he makes a crack about some lobster. She's like, ha, freaking har. I'm bankrupt.
Lobster thermidor.
Yeah. No, really, that's
and
what I
then
want.
she strikes
Meatball.
him.
Meatball. Wink, wink, meatball. It's like, what do you guys, why do you keep saying meatball?
Anyway, after this interaction, she comes back to talk to Cage, and he says, he's got it, huh?
This whole scene,
a couple years.
By the way, the whole scene is that he already knows he won the lottery, and he's already had the argument with his wife, and it's him trying to figure out whether or not he's going to stiff her.
Yeah.
As his wife suggested. So it's like, oh look, it's moral superior man trying to be moral superior towards Bridget Fonda. It's like, can I find fault with her? Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, he was
later,
the fuck out of her.
Yeah.
And he's trying to justify it to his wife, and he says, you should have seen her. She's like an angel to this couple with AIDS. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
that's an angel.
She didn't
regular
even
nice.
kick
Like
him in the
everyone
ribs.
should be.
Yes. Like waitress nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's like me giving $5 in Seattle to a homeless man. If someone says, you're a saint, it's like, I still call the 7-year-old kid a cunt. It's like, that's not really a saint.
Clean yourself up.
Well, I thought, like, okay, if she were to pay for it herself, bring the oatmeal to him on his deathbed or some shit like that, then he could say she's an angel.
Yeah, you can't really say she went out of her way. She served the customer.
Yeah.
And then, like, how 90s was that to just assume that he has AIDS?
It's the same.
He's got it. Yeah, he's got a bad
One
cold.
gay character of the movie. He's
Yes.
got it.
Well, this is still somewhat true today. Actually, is like
Yeah.
you can't have your gay guy in a movie unless there's a strike there. Somewhere
No.
you can't have hot, stable gay guy in the foreground. By the way, like they got to be further in the background. They either got to be somewhat frumpy or have AIDS. You know?
And it's like same thing with anyone that coughs in a movie. Like, oh, you're dying.
It's like no, I just need a drink. It's like no, don't try to play soft on me now. Oh my God, you've got it.
When were you gonna tell me?
Eric
There's
Roberts.
blood on the
in An Early
handkerchief.
Frost.
Yeah, it's like I had a little scab on my ankle. You have AIDS. I've seen
I'm
that the
gonna
band
so
played
do
on.
this. Every time I see either of you, I'm gonna say, "You've got it, huh?"
And I'll carry my keyboard to play the sad music.
Oh, okay, all right. So unpacking this god awful suitcase. Okay, so this movie is not an isolated incident. Because in that early to mid 90s period, there was actually a long string of like 1940s remakes and 1940s styled films. Like in 1993, there was the Melanie Griffith remake of Born Yesterday with Don Johnson and
John Goodman,
John
right?
Goodman, yeah, which is god awful, by the way. Like that never should have been made. And there's some stuff done in the spirit of 40s films, like Julia Roberts and Nick Nolte and I Love Trouble.
Yeah.
In 94, you get the John Hughes remake of Miracle on 34th Street, which again is one of the worst things that ever happened. And a lot of critics, like when talking about It Could Happen to You, they cited like Frank Capra for an example. They're like, "Oh, it's Capricorn." No, and this was like as a way of excusing it. And it's like, yeah, this is how we think of Frank Capra. But if you watch his movies, they're not all treacle.
No.
Right.
like that whole middle part of It's a Wonderful Life. It Happened One Night, which is the original romantic comedy, basically, which also is not all treacle. He did Arsenic and Old Lace, he did Lost Horizon,
Event Horizon.
My favorite Frank Capra movie was Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Leatherface.
Well, it's like to further your point as well, it's like people when they compared Shyamalan to Hitchcock and people doing Hitchcock films, it's like he did more than just The Birds and Psycho.
Yeah, no,
M. Night 12 Steps.
M. Night Shyamalan
Exactly.
never actually saw a Hitchcock movie. He saw a Brian De Palma version of a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, right. Which, by the way, I owe him a public apology because I used to fucking hate Brian De Palma except for The Untouchables because I figured he was just a hack just stealing Hitchcock shit. But then I finally saw one of Donnie's favorites, The Phantom of the Paradise. I take it back.
He made
has
The
redeeming
Fury, for the love of
qualities.
God. The Fury.
Oh,
Amy Irving making people blow up with her mind. It's awesome. Andrew Stevens blowing up people with his mind. Oh my God. It's like Dune and Phantasm on crack with Carrie thrown in. It's wonderful.
We'll save it for our De Palma cast.
I freaking love that movie.
Palmcast?
So come on, Mr. Sun, tell us what's going on in the mysterious East.
Thank yeah, no, I was thinking like, wait a minute. That's like a line I would have used if I was writing a story set in 1910.
Yeah.
Which I do. Let me get into some credits here before we go on and on about just how cringy this movie is. So some status here. This movie was shot by Caleb Deschanel. Caleb Deschanel shot Being There with the Shirley MacLaine.
Oh.
Yeah. The Right Stuff. Jack Reacher, National Treasure. Caleb Deschanel was also occasionally a director, but didn't really direct anything famous. Worked with Coppola a lot for like additional photography credits, including working on THX 1138.
Oh, wow.
This movie was edited by Barry Malkin, who also worked with Coppola. In fact, Barry Malkin edited all the Francis Ford Coppola movies that we've done on this podcast. And he also did Honeymoon in Vegas. But it's not all bad. He was also the editor on Cotton Comes to Harlem, Ossie Davis's movie from 1969, which is the first blaxploitation movie, basically. Oh yeah. Our movie was written by Jane Anderson. She is primarily a TV writer. She wrote If These Walls Could Talk Too.
Yeah.
Oh, not even the first one.
And How to Make an American Quilt. And 3 episodes of The Facts of Life.
What? That explains a lot about this movie.
But The Facts of Life are all about you.
All right. Already talked about Rosie Perez, Love. Isaac Hayes plays Angel. He was Truck Turner. He was the Duke of New York, a number 1.
Yep.
He was on 3 different episodes of The Rockford Files, some of which he was on with Lou Gossett Jr. And he wants to make love to the children. I actually found out a little bit about the death of Chef and all that. It turns out when the statement was issued in Isaac Hayes' name that he was leaving South Park because of the Scientology episode, Isaac Hayes was actually hospitalized. He had nothing to do with the statement. It was issued by his entourage.
Yeah, exactly.
Who were heavily Scientologist.
Yeah.
And he never really had anything mean to say about Trey Parker and Matt Stone, and he actually didn't have anything negative to say about the Scientologist episode either.
No, he said he was fine with it from what I remember, but it's also like they had a good working relationship, and that's why Matt and Trey made the statement they did about him in the Chef's Dead episode.
Yeah.
Well, that I figure we should hold on to that one for our conspiracy cast. Scientology.
We don't want them coming after us yet.
Yes.
Well, hey, wait, anything to give us some juice, right? We're like the Westboro Baptist Church at this point. We just want to get noticed.
Isn't there a crazy cult in Paris?
There's got to be at least one.
Yeah, well, I know there's one guy that was kind of really bugging shit insane up there in Paris.
Well, there's the Children of God cult over there, aren't they? I think they had a commune over there. I think so. I don't know.
Can you confirm this?
Me?
Yes.
I know nothing about cults.
Well, there was one you mentioned your sister got in trouble for, or wanted to, for drawing some cultish like dude. I can't remember. He was really just a nut job, but...
Yeah, oh god, this guy, I don't know, it's just a single guy, it's not a cult.
Oh,
he's just one guy. He thinks he's a new Christ kind of thing, and
doesn't everybody?
He thinks people are snake people, whatever. It's just that they come up from outer space, that the ruling class is...
reptilians.
I don't know. But
we get those a lot over here, but they tend to be former police officers.
That's very true.
Well, it's just this one guy, and she, my sister made a drawing sort of him, but not with his likeness. It was just a joke.
To be on the safe side.
And
it wasn't well taken.
Thought it was a good idea to tell the guy that she did that.
Yeah.
They thought it was hilarious, and the guy was pissed, but he can't really do anything, so...
International incidents.
I mean, it's not really a cult, though.
Okay.
You wish it was.
He wishes it was.
Someday.
You guys, I got a call. They got followers. I have an invisible army.
Yeah, it's just like paying $20 to be a priest online. Once you get 100 people following you, you can file for tax exemption.
Wow.
Hot.
Yeah.
Well,
so all our followers, let's join the cult of Cage.
Oh, hey, yeah. So, while we're at it, we have a Patreon.
We need Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
We got a Patreon, and we're going to put some special episodes on there.
Yes, Lindar?
Can I talk about what really happened in real life?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and tell us about the real incident that is nothing like this movie, essentially.
Did it end in bloody murder?
Yeah, so there's that scene with I kind of wish it did, but no. There's that scene where Angel, the reporter, is telling us that it's was it based mostly on?
He said, and it's mostly all true.
Mostly.
Yeah, well, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
it's barely
it's
true.
Very true.
It's true.
In 1984, Robert and Gina Cunningham won the lottery, but Robert was actually a police officer. He was 55 years old at the time, so not whatever Cage is. I think his like early 30s. And anyway, he and a lot of the cops, the local cops, would hang out at South Pizzeria where Phyllis Penzo worked as a waitress.
I'm Phyllis,
she was then
I
she was then 48 years old. She was an angel. And he said, quote, "One day as a joke, I said, let's buy a lottery ticket together in lieu of a tip." So they did. And he let Phyllis pick 3 of the numbers and they won. And actually, in the movie, they show them winning $4 million. I don't know why they changed it. In real life, they actually won $6 million. Yeah, but they each picked 3 numbers. So when he was asked how his wife actually handled splitting the pot, he claims that she, quote, said, "Hey, she picked 3 of those winning numbers. She gets half the pot." Wow. So there was no issue.
Of course.
And there was also no romantic element in real life.
At all. In fact, Phyllis was married happily. She's still married to the guy.
No, there was never anything.
And
wow.
She bought, with her winning, she bought a house and a car for her husband and for her daughter. That's right. She had a fucking kid.
Wow.
And she did some traveling to see her grandchildren.
No, Linda, you don't understand. Cops have kids.
She said, quote, "At one time I had considered opening a restaurant, but after 27 years as a waitress, you reach the age where you just can't do those hours anymore." So no, she didn't buy a restaurant. There was no romantical element.
Did she ever try to be an actress like Bridget Fonda's character?
I don't think so. And Gina, the wife, did not have any issue whatsoever with splitting the pot. So, I mean, the only thing it had in common was that.
No movie.
Well,
yeah. Like the only thing was that that there was a cop who won the lottery and split it with a waitress. That's it.
Hey, did he love his job? Was it his favorite job, and did he think it was the most important job in the world?
Actually, he was tried for child murder the day after.
This job is so great. It's a wonderful cover.
See the documentary on Cropsey.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Well, I understand the need to, romanticize a story to make a movie out of it.
Yeah, but boy, did they ever.
They really screwed over the wife, though.
Yeah, totally.
Rosie Perez.
Muriel, the woman with a heart of gold.
I personally use that nail polish remover, And the air in my apartment is so dry.
But if you buy nail polish remover for her, does that mean that it's yours? Or that you gave it to her?
Were you wearing a gun at the time?
That was so fucking great. It's like, were you wearing your gun at the time? When did you hit her?
Yeah, so that's another thing, by the way. Every bad romantic comedy has to have a courtroom scene. It's the rules,
That's true.
It's like Bounce with Ben Affleck.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Jimmy Stewart.
We mentioned that, there's some Jimmy Stewart, except the Charlie character, Cage's character. He's not really that nice.
No, he's really not.
Because he's kind of a hard-on, sort of like forcing his particular morality on others.
Yeah.
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 He won't fire off his gun in his quote unquote favorite Korean store. He'll chuck a can at him and then he'll break the guy's window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even criminals think he's a swell guy.
I mean,
I'm the doctor
okay
here,
with
honey.
him being a good guy and stuff. It's just that, like, the fact that he didn't talk to his wife about all this
Yes.
is
Well,
just bullshit. It's just like, she has a valid point.
She did have some
Yeah.
valid points. Like,
Totally.
I don't know. I hate that they vilified her for it.
well,
Yeah,
no,
that's why
they were.
And just to make
They
it
were
worse,
employing
he's
some-
hanging out with another woman.
Yeah. Well, in his innocence, he did not see his sin for what it was.
No, and I really felt
Which is
it
a
was
theme that could have been
justified.
better explored, by the way.
Oh, God,
because
yeah.
if they had a thing about a guy who only wants to do right and is led astray because of it, then then you would have had a story.
Well, I just felt she was really justified in the whole, oh my god, I'm home, and what happened to my house? She's remodeling everything. And it's like, bitch, you gave away all this money to these people, so fuck you. You didn't
Yeah.
ask me my thoughts
oh
on
my
it.
god, my wife's doing something with her share too, besides getting
Yeah.
furs and getting paint thrown on her? I don't understand. Oh no, she has an Indian accountant. I don't know how I feel about this.
Well, on top of that, it just
Yeah.
shows more than anything, he just doesn't know his wife. I mean, if you did...
Yeah,
If you
apparently
didn't
they'd never
know-
met before this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Who would have thought?
Gotta do the right thing, honey. Oh, baby, stop sucking your feet next to me. We do this all the time. Do we? How do I know what we do?
Oh, I know.
How do I know how you feel about anything? We never talk.
And I love that she says, like, if you loved me, you wouldn't share
Yes.
it with the waitress. And so what does he do? He, like, goes and shares it with the waitress.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm just like, this is kind of like it's kind of how do you call it? It's blackmail, kind
Yeah.
of like,
It's
if you love
emotional
me,
blackmail.
you do this. Is kind of bullshit. But
Yeah.
You mean like what Daenerys
But
did to Jon
still.
Snow?
I have only ever tried to make you happy.
Yeah.
He didn't have to give her half, you know? He
Yeah.
could have
Well,
just given
if-
her, like,
if
a
well,
giant...
I mean,
the problem
if
is
it
not
was a
really that
tip-
he gives us that money. It's just that he didn't talk to his wife about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Or
just
what he
reckless.
did, and he just didn't give a shit about what she said.
Or
Yeah.
he could have just not told her that he bought that lotto ticket.
That's true. I mean, even though...
No, think
Yeah.
about this though. If the
That's
comedy
even
was all about him
worse.
trying to hide the fact that he won the lottery from his
Oh
wife.
god, yeah. See, that would have been even funnier. I remember my
But he's
sister...
perfect. He doesn't lie.
Yeah, I remember my sister and my dad were the ones that watched
That's
this.
me.
Yes, you.
Oh.
Oh my stars, you're here. It's a Christmas special.
Wait a minute,
Oh,
wait a
oh,
minute.
my.
You two are
Oh,
related.
he's talking about me. Oh, boy. Wait, we need a record scratch.
Oh, golly.
But no, it's like I remember they rented and watched it, and I was kind of half coming in and out of it and paying attention to the movie.
Who can blame you?
Honestly, when we watched it now, this was the first time since it came out on VHS that I saw this thing. And I really was thinking that it was, like you said, that this was going to be a whole thing of he promised her money. That's the most thing I remember, was that he promised the waitress money, and I thought he had a girlfriend who was kind of bitchy, and that the rest of the movie was going to be all these people coming to him wanting and needing money, and him trying to keep it secret. But what we got instead was just pure diabetes, 90s style.
Well, you know what you just proposed and what I just proposed are the things that would have made it into a comedy.
Yeah, exactly. It would have
And
been
really, this is
situational
under the
comedy.
romantic comedy banner. But let's be
Yeah.
real, it's not one. It's just
No.
like they're playing that damn Young at Heart song, and just like
Yeah.
him hanging out with the neighborhood kids playing stickball in the streets. Like, look, everybody, it's just like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. He's a regular nice guy. He's so innocent.
Yeah, and it's...
He doesn't have a
this was-
selfish bone in his body. He doesn't have any genitals.
Yeah, I really...
But another-
Go ahead.
One thing I noticed also is that, like, you were talking earlier about, like, how Cage didn't cage it
Yeah.
up. And he said that, when he decided to play it as Jimmy Stewart, he said that, quote, I wanted to play him a little larger than life. Naturalism is a style that can be really effective, but it can make it really boring.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, that's you playing it larger than life?
A promise is a
I don't know.
So I'd like to point out at this point that early on in the development of this film, the title was the $2 million tip, and you can see why they didn't go with that one. But they actually had Schwarzenegger cast in it. Believe it or not, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, good
Yeah.
lord.
But he very wisely decided to instead make The Last Action Hero,
Yeah.
which is a
I'm sorry,
much
Johnny,
better
what-
movie.
what were you going to say?
I hate bringing up his name because I just don't really like him anymore now. But it's something I compared this to.
Dad?
God damn you!
God, that's fucked up.
Father's name.
Who are you gonna mention?
Adam Sandler.
Oh
and
God!
It's something that I told Lucille. This reminded me of was
Yeah, I could actually. That would
it was
make
his
sense.
remake of almost a similar thing. Mr. Deeds, I think it was.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
God. No, actually, at one point I thought, like, man, this is so bad. This is like an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, and it's like I told her, it's like how far they went to vilify his girlfriend in that, and it's like, oh, he finds a right girl for him who's a down-home person, she cares about people. His girlfriend leaves him for what she thinks is a rich old dude who's going to help her out, and in the end of the movie, you see her wearing an old-fashioned Hooters outfit. The old guy she left him for is not rich, he's actually a fry cook at Hooters. And then they have to go and make fun of her for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's this broad, expansive moral compass we're working with here. It's like, like petty revenge.
Yep.
Yeah, and it still is kind of like Adam Sandler movies basically was the 90s. It's like, look at that, isn't it funny? They're suffering.
Oh, you see his foot's broken now, and he has diabetes. It's funny.
Well, I guess that brings us naturally to Face Off.
Oh, yeah. I actually had trouble
Donnie.
with that.
Well,
I did
oh, you did? Well, wait. I think. Well, we got Tom Hanks. We got Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. Like that's what this should have been. Like we got the Schwarzenegger thing. One of those Schwarzenegger '90s comedies. Like that might, it wouldn't have worked super well, but I think it might have been still better than this. Yeah. And we got Jimmy Stewart. Only wait a minute. Oh, he's in good movies. I can't be here. This is garbage. I'm gonna go smoke a bowl with Gary Cooper. You all get out of my face.
Oh, God.
Yeah. You see that, Hallie? I won the lottery. I'm out of here. Don't you know you don't keep souvenirs from a killing?
And that's how you get the movie Harvey. For me, I would definitely keep Rosie Perez.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also put in Christian Slater and Marissa Tomei because I really just would rather watch Untamed Heart.
God damn it! I saw that too. Why?
You are like wet sand in my underwear.
Why you bring that up? Oh,
You like school in summertime.
oh God. Oh,
Donnie?
Well, I actually had
Lord.
some trouble with it because I couldn't decide on the part of Charlie. But I didn't go Tom Hanks. Instead, I actually was debating between going serious with it, which would have been John Travolta, or going really old school style comedy and going John Candy or Drew Carey. Just because it would have been more of he's a lovable American.
yeah. You know what? John Candy would make total sense.
Yeah, it really did.
My God, yeah.
So as Muriel,
Jesus,
I
you're a
would have
visionary.
had, Winona Ryder, just because she's been on my mind ever since Stranger Things 3 and just thinking, what the fuck is she doing? And
She's always on my mind.
One day I got Ryder
God.
on my mind.
And Yvonne, I would have said Rita Moreno. Just because she was she was kind of big back in the 90s. She had some stuff, but it would have been fun.
This movie
see
just
it.
made me wish I was watching Moonstruck again, and that's not a good sign.
Oh,
Because
boy.
for all the problems I have with Moonstruck,
no.
it's like, holy crap, that was such a better movie than this. It's like if you were in an elevator with, when somebody had a gun to your head, and there were only 2 movies to watch, and there was a portable TV, you had to watch It Could Happen to You and Moonstruck, you'd watch Moonstruck.
I'd take
It's
it.
also
shorter.
You just take the bullet.
Yeah.
Well, after the number of times I've seen both films, I might take the bullet too. But I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna live, you'd pick Moonstruck.
I would love to turn this movie into a horror.
You don't think I won the lottery, do
promise.
you?
So basically, Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, David Cronenberg's It Could Happen
With
to You.
Cage
Well,
screaming at the
there
end.
is a movie from the 40s called It Could Happen to You, but it's actually about a man being wrongfully accused of murder.
Wow.
See, that's the thing that would more likely be the thing that would happen to you.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
know
know,
what you're
right?
Well, Lucille, did you have any?
Oh god, I wish I
suggestions?
did, but like I mentioned, I know nothing about movies and even less about actors.
That's okay. You got
Fair
those
enough.
raw impressions, and we need those. We've
Well,
all probably
there was-
watched too many movies.
There was someone we mentioned last night that came up, and that was Nick Cage's part was Van Damme. Just because.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. No, and then he's not only brought to trial, but he's jailed, and he has to kung fu his way through the jail. He has to do kung fu escape because Patrick Kilpatrick killed the guard and said, "Ice to see ya." And then he's got to like kung fu to clear his name and save the waitress from kidnappers.
This could have been a
That's
prequel
so
to
much
Double
better.
Impact.
Oh my god.
You know, on Tuesday, I took a cardio kickboxing class, and I had to bite my tongue because I kept wanting to say, Kumate,
Yeah, but
Kumate.
I thought you'd never do that on a Tuesday.
Nobody gets on Tuesday.
Yeah. What? Cardio on a Tuesday? Never on a Tuesday.
Y'all find any wisdom in this?
Yeah,
saga
the
shit?
wisdom is don't make this movie. I'd
Don't
like
watch
to
it.
point out at this point in time that Seymour Cassel was also in a John Cassavetes movie and a Sam Peckinpah movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so why? Why?
Well, we could always go with
Sam fucking
the
Peckinpah.
wisdom of that guy who called the woman after she won the lottery or her part of it and said spank him
Oh,
with a
yeah,
wire brush.
thank you for bringing that up. That was actually, I had that under why Yvonne isn't a good person. It's like, somebody gets on the phone, gives her a G-rated come on, and she's like, oh my god, that's disgusting! That anybody would ever want to have intercourse with me. Ew.
Yeah.
Back in the
He
day
says-
when you used to list your number.
Tushy.
Yeah.
He says tushy.
Oh,
Tushy.
yes! Let's make him into Tushy.
It's like,
It's kind
it's
of
like,
adorable.
what
I wish,
the-
like, I got dirty calls like that.
You know, Cage's grandma is really getting diminishing returns on this one because at first she gets that romantic one where James Caan from The Godfather is wooing that woman, and that annoying private detective from New York keeps getting in his way for some reason. And then you got the other one where, Cheryl MacLaine, you know, oh my stars, I had a heart flutter just watching them just dance across the screen. They go to the opera together, you know, and then I have a private drink in the moonlight. Oh my goodness. I just warm my cackles, you know, just like watching, you know, it was like a Burt Reynolds movie.
Well, she may have been divorced in the heart, but maybe the wisdom would be that you can be
Divorced in
bankrupt in life, but you'll always be rich in the heart.
In the butt.
I have a piece of wisdom too.
Oh, let's
from
have it,
the
Lucille.
movie.
Yeah.
It's I wish I had $600,000.
No shit.
Yeah,
I thought
that
you were
session
gonna
money
say,
at the end. It's like, this movie ends with a GoFundMe.
I know, right? I was telling her that would happen today, but not in the 90s so much.
Yeah, they let Isaac Hayes in disguise as a homeless guy into the restaurant after they have nothing. They give him a bowl of soup and like $5 and say, "You have a good day, sir." And he's like, "Yeah, it was amazing. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to get kicked in the ribs." You know, and then he tells the world about it, and everybody sends $5 to $10 to Nicolas Cage and Bridget Fonda.
See,
and
no, that would have been your horror movie. It was if, like, should we invite him in? He's like, why not? And he thinks, I'm gonna get some soup, and they kill him instead.
A promise is a
I
promise.
legitimately thought your wisdom
Andrew
was
Bergman,
be
Sweeney
happiness
Todd.
is in your household.
And the homeless is in your soup.
Here's my freaking wisdom. Before you go to bankruptcy court about charges incurred by your estranged husband, file for divorce on your way there. And if you can't cover it, well,
Yes.
you know, maybe later on. You know.
Yeah.
I'd say to discuss major financial decisions with your partner, if you have shared accounts especially, and if you're unhappy in the relationship, fucking discuss that too.
I know, right?
Yeah,
They
no,
could've
don't-
done a
This
lot
says
with
I've been
that.
unhappy for like 3-5 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah, don't just go put in that personal ad saying if you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain. You have to tell your spouse it's like, hey, There's a little trouble in paradise. Just saying, not saying it's anybody's fault. It's just this and this is kind of going on,
The only positive I want to give this is that this would make a great Medea film.
I could do bad all by myself.
Oh,
I could win the lottery all by myself.
I do love me some Medea.
Don't make me break my foot off in your ass.
I suppose it's the time where I say please listen, follow, rate, and review Cage's Kiss on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Podcoin, and YouTube. If you don't have a Podcoin account, be sure to use the code Cage's Kiss, all as one word, no apostrophe, to get extra points for you and for us. And I wanted to give a couple shout outs today for some people who left us very lovely reviews.
Shout it out loud.
Thank you. First of all, Nikki, love you.
Darling Nikki.
Aldecisto, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. There's Arcana, and there is Sunny Lala from our one of our sister podcasts, one of our friends with in our pod family from Book of Lies. They are an awesome podcast. They like to it's kind of like
they live in an earthquakeville where we all used to live.
Yes, and they're sort of like a niche of true crime where they talk about lying liars and the lies that
they talk
tell.
about Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo.
Call me for your free reading.
And all other con artists. It's a lot of fun, and I think they're doing the Lord's work, helping us not get duped. And also, I would like to thank Miranda Gem for her review, and she has her own podcast as well at All Things Dreams. It's a lot of fun, a lot of dream interpretation, which is my jam. So check them out, give them some love.
Right away, I can't wait another day, Miranda.
Miranda.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, every time you kept saying
please.
Angel, I kept thinking of the song Angie from Sleepaway Camp.
Oh, I think Angel, run to the shadows.
I just watched that recently too. Oh, but
yeah, we should.
anyway, I guess that's another.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just do
Linda,
that. Linda,
why don't you tell the people at home about the new value add on our YouTube?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
sweet lady cocaine.
Please, I have to say you can find Cage's Kiss on Facebook and on Twitter at Cage's Kiss, and you can write to us at our website or go to our website at cageskiss.com and write to us at cageskiss@gmail.com. But on Twitter and Facebook, as well as our YouTube, you're going to be able to find Adrian's lovely artwork. He just made us an animated intro for our videos, and it is amazing.
And really short.
And really, thankfully, short.
Mercifully so.
It really is amazing, though. You should check it out. Adrian, do you have any other plugs?
Well, I could eat a peach for hours, but that's beside the point.
You could. You just don't.
I just don't. I could do that, but I don't want to. Yeah. Well, you can come and find me on DeviantArt under Leo the Fox, all run together, all one word, all lowercase, because I put my artworks onto there. And I have a YouTube, too, under A. Smith, where I complain about books that you haven't read, mostly, and draw stuff. And I bet Donnie has a thing.
I have a few things.
Tell us about your thing.
Do you have it?
I'll be getting Lucille to say happiness.
Getting her to say happiness is my goal in life.
Well, you succeeded.
Thank you. Because I give you what? What? I give you what?
Grief.
At least you didn't say it. I am still the boy who blew on PornTube, and I'm also Unreal Goals on Twitter. And the last thing I would like to leave with Adrian is the funny fact that you said you saw Face Off and decided to jump to this. That's like jumping from Mrs. Doubtfire to What Dreams May Come.
So I blame my brother for that because, you know, while we were going through the Lethal Weapon movies, randomly he started like bringing home stuff like Ransom, you know, and conspiracy theory. Give me back my son, the money.
Ransom to the Beaver. That would have been amazing.
When your son leaves his house to go to school, to go play, to buy a fucking comic book, you're gonna wonder, is today gonna be Jimmy Shaker Day?
Now that was a scene from the Beaver.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
While I'm at it, if you could please leave us a review, but also if you have any feedback for us, let us know. Write to us at cageskiss@gmail.com or on Twitter. You can slide into our DMs.
Oh, Lucille, can we find you online?
I guess so, yeah. I'm Oscar Hachin on Instagram, where I draw stuff.
Awesome.
And I guess on Twitter at Switsnail, if you really want to, because I don't really post anything there, but hey, yes. There you go.
Do you have any, like, websites, or?
No.
That's
not at the moment.
You need to get on DeviantArt with Adrian.
Yeah, get off
I
on that.
was, but didn't work out too much for me.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was okay, but
Did you get overrun with Sonic fan art? That tends to happen.
I've seen some, and I would rather avoid them.
There's this one guy, A.A. Smith, who kept trolling me with furry porn.
Much furry porn.
I was just
Come
drowning
on, you
in
guys.
furry
There's
porn.
never too much.
Yeah, you were
This is my
drowning and
MLP
yipping?
Five Nights at Freddy's crossover.
Oh, God damn it. Why, Applejack? Why?
No, you see, it's
We
different.
will
There's
see.
two of them on this one.
This is why it's not safe
God
to
damn
Google My Little Pony.
What about Pretty Derby? Is it safe to Google that?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, dear Lord.
Safe to Google.
We will be back with you
The
next
international
week
symbol for the
with-
internet is Goatse.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
We'll be back with you next week. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. This
What
could
movie
be
are we
it.
watching next week, Linda?
Yeah.
Trapped in Paradise.
Oh,
Paradise.
fuck. Oh.
With John Lovitz and Dana
Well, at
Carvey.
least there's that.
He's losing his mind.
shorts, though.
And I'm reaping all the benefits.
Ripping all the benefits.
Stop reading my mind.
What a tale your thoughts would tell.
A promise is a promise.
It's your money.
And
Use
good
it
night,
when
Miss
you...
Calabash, wherever you are.
I would just like to say, I have wings, Tony. I had to fly.
She got him done.
She got him done, everybody.
Peach. I could eat a peach for hours. Please.